as I get into a little discussion about the tech outlook in New Hampshire, I want you to keep in mind three numbers. They're pretty simple. One, 9% of our workforce in New Hampshire is engaged in high technology. That 9% accounts for 25% of our gross domestic product, and it also accounts for about 36% of our exports. So it's a very significant factor in terms of the New Hampshire economy. So let's talk about what I'm hearing from our 210 member companies. One, members are generally optimistic starting in 2010. I think it's fair to say that most of our member companies have written off 2009 as a year to survive, where they're not going to make a lot of progress advancing their business plan, where they're going to be reining in costs and trying to make it through the year. It really is let's do what we can with what we have to get through 09. You're going to see a lot of conserving of cash, lowering of R&D investment, lower level of hiring in some firms and layoffs in others, and there will be a bit of the survival of the fittest mentality. I would say that this is especially true of the smallest businesses, which are not cash positive right now, because as we've heard, the credit market is tough. Angels and VCs are reining in their spending, they're hoarding cash, they're not seeing the exits that they would like to, and it's going to be hard if people are not making money or at least generating positive cash flow to stay and grow. The silver lining, as you just heard from Hans and the other speaker, New Hampshire is going to fare better than most states. There are some true benefits of a slowing economy. Right now, you can find skilled employees that you could not have found a year or two ago, and they're more affordable. If you're looking at a startup out of necessity or because you've got that great business idea and you can fund it, and of course you will need good people, they are out there. So that makes starting a business or growing a business easier. We are going to create entrepreneurs out of necessity. We have a pattern here of when the economy dips, people lose jobs. We are a very entrepreneurial state. A lot of those people who lose their job will go out, they'll look for an opportunity, they will see this as the perfect time to take that idea and try and grow it into a business because they don't have the alternative of staying employed and bringing home a paycheck. So I really do see that as an advantage that we have here, is the entrepreneurial spirit, and that people think about downtimes as a time of opportunity. Another good thing about New Hampshire is we are a state with many resources to assist new entrepreneurs. We can help them develop a business plan. We can help them find financing. We can help to connect them to professionals throughout the state, government leaders who can help them grow their business. We have the International Trade Resource Center, which has been a great advantage for companies looking to bring their products overseas. We have the small business development centers throughout the state, and we have a number of really strong trade organizations like the High Tech Council, whose members are more than willing to lend a hand, listen to an idea, provide some counsel free of charge to other companies, because we've all been there, we've all walked in their shoes, and we want to help. It's just the way we do things in New Hampshire. Some of the action items that come to mind to make this dip as shallow as it can be and be prepared for growth on the other side. One is to continue to build on the cooperation that occurs in the state between government, education, and business leaders. There's a huge advantage in being a small state. You often hear about the 7 points of contact or 6 points of contact. You know, how many connections does it take to make, to reach another person? In New Hampshire, I would say it's maybe 1 or 2. If you want to call the governor, you're only a phone call away. If you want to go to Washington and have a meeting with your congressional delegation, you're a phone call away. If you want to meet with any of the university college presidents or people on their teams, you're a phone call away. It's very easy to be able to network and find the resources that you need to help your business grow. That's a tremendous advantage. I don't think you could go down to Massachusetts and find the same thing. You'd kind of be lost in the shuffle. Here you can really rise above it all. We can share information between us. We don't have enough coordination yet, but we're working on ways to ensure that we don't have a ton of different groups all working on the same or similar agendas, so we're wasting resources. And this is something that's actively taking place today. building an inventory of all the different efforts going on in the state to help promote economic development, sharing that information between us, focusing resources to make sure things happen and are not duplicated. That's a really critical element. Take advantage of federal spending to develop the long-term infrastructure. I think, as everybody knows, there's a race to the money right now. I think the states that think through what their long-term agendas are, look at investments today as having long-term with the real defined, measurable, quantitative, measurable impact. Those are the opportunities most likely to get funded. I think we do have some opportunities in New Hampshire which we can pursue that will have a long-term economic benefit to us. I also think that we need to have a healthy debate and decision-making on some of the controversial items that we've been talking about for a long time in the state. Some of them will not get resolved now. Others will come up every 5 years as we enter into these economic cycles. Tax increases, I'm not even going to get into that one. Gambling, where does gambling fit? But as we look at these things, we need to take into mind that we have a long-term view and a commitment to the quality of life. I think everybody in high tech will tell you if there is a New Hampshire advantage, and we have to define it, it's the quality of life that we enjoy in New Hampshire that few other states enjoy at the level we have it. That quality of life needs to be maintained. We need to be able to communicate that to new companies and their CEOs looking to relocate their businesses or start their businesses, and show that New Hampshire remains a cut above the rest in terms of doing that. In terms of specific industries that are doing well and why we're going to do a little bit better, I just wanted to summarize a little bit about what people have been telling me in certain sectors. In the defense sector, the new mantra is flat sales is good. There's going to be certainly a flattening out of revenue increases that most defense companies have seen since 2001. What the CEOs are telling me is, while the investment side of the house doesn't want to hear it, if we can maintain our revenues today, we're going to be very happy with that. If we can maintain profitability and cash flow, that's a good thing. Virtually all of these companies are looking at long-term transitioning technologies developed for defense applications into the commercial sector. That's great. Defense products do not transfer into the commercial sector. Defense technologies do. It takes time. It's going to take multiple years before we see the benefit of some of these new technologies trickle down into cost-effective solutions on the commercial side. But I think every significant defense company is looking at doing just that. We're very fortunate here in that we've got a very healthy defense industry base made up of a full cross range of very small companies, the 1 to 10s, up to the BAEs. And virtually all of them are going to see an impact on their business, but it's not going to be a tremendous dip. So I think that's a very healthy perspective for us. We also have another group of companies which have a competitive advantage over offshore companies in that they do things that are export controlled or export restricted. And these are companies that are engaged in nanotechnology manufacturing and in other areas where there are significant ITAR requirements, where those jobs and that technology transfer simply cannot go overseas and be outsourced. So in those areas, I think we have tremendous growth prospects. So in conclusion, I look forward to answering any questions after the panel presentations. But I think 2009, we will get through it, and brighter days are coming. I think New Hampshire is going to see less of a dip than the rest of the country, and I thank you for your participation today. Thanks.